but some key milestones include discovery of DNA. In 1869, Friedrich Mischer discovered DNA while studying the chemical composition of white blood cells. He called it nuclein. Identification of DNA as the genetic material. In the early 20th century, experiments by scientists such as Frederick Griffith and Oswald Avery provided evidence that DNA carries genetic information. Chargaff's rules. In the 1940s, Erwin Chargaff discovered the amount of adenine and thymine as well as cytosine and guanine are roughly equal in DNA samples. This laid the groundwork for understanding the structure of DNA. Discovery of DNA double helix. In 1953, James Watson and Francis Crick, with the help of Rosalind Franklin's X-ray diffraction images, proposed the double helix structure of DNA. This breakthrough provided a physical model for understanding how DNA carries genetic information.
Nobel Prize in 1962, Watson, Crick, and Maurice Wilkins were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their discoveries concerning the molecular structure of nucleic acids and its significance for information transfer in living material. Understanding genetic code. In subsequent years, scientists deciphered the genetic code, which specifies how DNA sequences are translated into proteins, further elucidating the role of DNA in biology. Technological advances in DNA sequencing technology, such as the development of polymerase chain reaction or PCR, and DNA sequencing techniques have revolutionized the study of genetics and molecular biology, leading to breakthroughs in fields such as genomics and personalized medicine. Overall, the history of DNA research represents a collaborative effort by scientists from various disciplines, each contributing to our understanding of the molecule that is central to life as we know it.
DNA serves several critical roles and functions in living organisms. Genetic blueprint. DNA contains the genetic instructions necessary for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known living organisms. Storage of genetic information. DNA stores genetic information in the form of a code made up of 4 chemical bases: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Transmission of genetic information. DNA is passed from parent to offspring during reproduction, ensuring the inheritance of traits. Gene expression. DNA provides the instructions for synthesizing proteins, which are the building blocks of cells and perform a wide variety of functions in the body. Regulation of gene expression. DNA regulates when and where specific genes are expressed through processes such as epigenetics and transcriptional evolution, mutability, and evolution. DNA can undergo mutations which provide the genetic variation necessary for evolution to occur over successive generations. DNA replication. DNA is capable of making copies of itself, allowing cells to divide and pass on genetic information to the daughter cells accurately. Coding and non-coding regions. DNA contains both coding regions, genes that encode proteins, and non-coding regions, which regulate gene expression, provide instructional support, and have other functions. Chromosome extraction. DNA is organized into structures called chromosomes, which will ensure that genetic material is accurately distributed during cell division. Response to environmental stimuli. DNA can respond to environmental stimuli such as changes in temperature or exposure to toxins through mechanisms like DNA repair and gene regulation.
The primary function of DNA is to store and transmit genetic information. It thus distributes unique sequence of nucleotides which encode instructions for the synthesis of proteins and other molecules essential for the growth, development, and functioning of an organism. Additionally, DNA plays a crucial role in inheritance as it is passed from parents to offspring, ensuring the continuity of genetic traits across generations. DNA also serves as a template for the replication of itself, enabling cells to divide and proliferate. Furthermore, DNA is involved in regulating gene expression, controlling when and where specific genes are turned on or off in response to various internal and external signals. Overall, DNA is a fundamental to the survival and diversity of life on Earth.
On July 10, 1999, Rosario, Cavite, at about 1 p.m., 9-year-old Daisy Jolala went to her neighbor's house to seek help in her assignment.
Mama, pupunta ba ako nila Tito Angelo? Magpapatulong pa ako sa assignment ko. Sige, mag-ingat ka doon. Tito Angelo!
When Daisy arrived at Vallejo's place to seek help for her assignment, Vallejo helped her. Afterwards, Vallejo maliciously watched the body of Daisy Jolala. And started to hold Daisy's tie. Then he grabbed Daisy in the bed and raped her and choked her after. Then he put the t-shirt in the laundry to hide it because it had blood stains. Later, Vallejo carried Daisy's lifeless body to a spacious open space beside a big tree. At 5 p.m. on the same day, Daisy's mom noticed that her child wasn't home yet.
Tao po! Tao po!
She went to Vallejo's house and Daisy wasn't there. Daisy's mom went to the police station to report that her daughter was not home yet. The next morning, Daisy's body was found in an open area beside a big tree. Apparently, she was raped and thereafter strangled to death. In the afternoon of July 11, the police went to Vallejo's house to question the latter as he was one of the last persons with the victim. But prior to that, some neighbors have already told the police that Vallejo was acting strangely during the afternoon of July 10. The police requested for the clothes that Vallejo wore the day Daisy disappeared.
Sir, magandang umaga.
Umaga din, sir.
Pwede ko ba makuha yung damit na sinuot mo nung araw na pumunta sa Daisy dito?
Vallejo complied and the clothes were submitted for processing.
Wala po yung sir. Salamat po.
The person who processed the clothing was Pet Byron Buan, a forensic biologist of the NBI. At the instance of the local fiscal, he also took buccal swabs from Vallejo and a vaginal swab from Daisy's body for DNA testing. The use of buccal swab in solving crimes has revolutionized the way forensic evidence is collected and analyzed. In the case of People of the Philippines versus Vallejo, this method played a crucial role in identifying the perpetrator and bringing justice to the victims. In the case of People of the Philippines versus Vallejo, the examiner carefully examined the t-shirt of Mr. Vallejo to gather evidence. The examiner meticulously inspected the fabric, stitching, and any potential stains or markings on the shirt. The examiner utilized forensic techniques to analyze any fibers or DNA present on the t-shirt that could link Mr. Vallejo to the crime in the question. This thorough examination was crucial in determining Mr. Vallejo's involvement in the case. By scrutinizing every detail of the t-shirt, the examiner was able to piece together a timeline of events and establish a connection between Mr. Vallejo and the crime scene. This meticulous examination played a key role in presenting evidence during the trial. In order to determine whether this blood belonged to the victim, the examiner utilized a specific test known as serological analysis. Serological analysis is a method used to identify and analyze blood samples based on the virus characteristics such as blood type, DNA markers, and antigens present in the sample. In this case, the examiner conducted tests to determine if the blood found on Mr. Vallejo's t-shirt matched that of the victim. The specific test used in this case was ABO typing, which determines an individual's blood type based on the presence or absence of antigens A and B. By comparing the blood type of Mr. Vallejo with that of the victim, the examiner was able to establish a link between him and the crime scene. In conclusion, Serological analysis played a crucial role in determining the source of the blood found on Mr. Valeo's t-shirt during the People of the Philippines versus Valeo trial. Through ABO typing and other tests, it was possible to establish a connection between Mr. Valeo and the victim through forensic evidence. By collecting DNA samples from the inner cheek of the suspect through a buccal swab, forensic experts were able to compare it with the DNA evidence found at the crime scene. This scientific approach provided irrefutable evidence linking Vallejo to the crime, leading to his conviction. Dr. Buan found that there were bloodstains in Valeo's clothing, blood type A, similar to that of the victim, while Valeo's blood type is O. Buan also found that the vaginal swab from Daisy contained Valeo's DNA profile. Because of the evidences and the testimony of the witnesses, the court ruled that there is sufficient evidence. The Supreme Court finds the accused guilty beyond reasonable doubt of the crime rape with homicide. As charged in the information, accordingly hereby sentence him to the supreme penalty of death.